In an endgame, you might have two situations. You might have a situation where you absolutely know you are going to win, or you might have situations where you know that the game might be a draw, might be a win. You know you have to play it well. But this is a situation where you know that you can absolutely win this when you have a knight and a bishop. But when you try to play it, you kind of feel like, you know, not really being able to finish the game properly. So that is why it is really important to learn how to finish the game with a bishop and a knight. Although it might be less likely that you encounter the situation, but if you do, after watching this video, you can actually checkmate the king with a knight and a bishop only. Well, as we have learned different, mating positions and different kind of endgames, we'll try to learn the knight, bishop, and the king one. But before, starting with how to proceed in any situation, we'll first see the end of the game. So that's how we'll proceed. We'll proceed with firstly, I'll tell you how the game ends, then a little step one or step two behind how the game ends, and then we'll begin from this side, where given any general situation, how to put it back to this. Because in the middle there is chaos. So that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to take any random position on the board with a knight and a bishop and try to bring it to this checkmate position. So let's see it. So what will happen essentially is this. The opposite king would be on one corner of the board, the corner where the same colored bishop is. So essentially, if you have a white bishop, sorry, if you have a dark squared bishop, then the corner in which we try to push the opposition is the black corner. So you have essentially just two squares. If you have the dark squared bishop, if you have the white squared bishop, then you have these two squares. Uh, Actually, checkmate could happen while the king is on the edge also. Like that won't be a forced checkmate to happen. If the opponent does a mistake, you could actually checkmate him then and there. So, for example, just to show you the position of a checkmate then and there, it will be this that the opposition king is there, the bishop is there, and the king is there. So now you can see that I have blocked every single square for the opposition king. Okay, so this is actually a light squared bishop, but that's fine. And once I've done so, I could actually bring a knight here, and this would be a checkmate position for a black. So these situations can occur, but they only occur if the black player plays a little stupidly. If the black player tries to maximize his number of moves, then he will always be checkmated in the corner. Yeah, so how does the checkmate in the corner look like? Well, we essentially began our situation with the game is for a dark squared bishop. So we'll have a dark squared bishop, and the opposition king will be here. And you can now see that I can pretty much block most of these squares. So I block this square and this square, and then I might have a bishop here. So this is a mating position for black. There are other situations as well. For example, this is also a mating position, and yeah, we'll encounter different mating positions for black with a bishop and a knight. But the classic insight is this that the color bishop that we have, dark square or light square, only in those corners can we push the opposition king. Okay, so let's start accessing this situation. Okay, so this is a very random distribution for these four pieces on the board, and we are claiming that we can checkmate the black king at from any of such positions. So here's the thing. When I tried to access this position on a chess engine, it showed me some moves, and it might not be always intuitive to go along with those moves, but you can always have the core idea of what you are going to do. You are going to push the black king into one corner of the board, the same color as the color of the bishop. So, pushing from here, from this square to the corner of the board, or maybe to the edge of the board, is pretty much intuitive in the sense that you don't have any algorithm. Like, for example, consider the rook endgame or the queen endgame. You proceeded in a certain way. You proceeded with the idea that a single rook can block the entire file, a queen will block the entire file and the diagonals. So you can push the king in a certain way. But with a knight and a bishop, I mean, yeah, there is an ideology. So the idea is this, that a knight actually, blocks these light colored squares at one point, and like if you have the knight at some other position, for example, right now the knight it is at a dark colored square. So what it is going to do is that it is actually going to manage all the light colored squares. So for example, if the knight was here, then what squares was it supposed to manage? It was supposed to manage these many squares. All of them are light colored. And contrary, if the knight was at a light colored square, then it will manage a dark colored square. Now, a light colored bishop always manages light colored squares. So if you somehow combine this knight and this bishop, then you can actually make a diagonal, a wall kind of thing to, cage this king. And of course, you have your king as well. So, for example, if let's say, I choose to make this move, king to d3, then I have blocked these three squares for this king. And this king has to somehow, go behind only. He can't really, uh, the king cannot come ahead. Out of his nine squares, I have blocked three of them. And so I'll proceed on blocking to him. So, for example, if let's say I make this move, now this is the position. What might black try to do? So, okay. Also, one more thing. Black has actually, if black knows what is going to happen, and if let's say black is playing on time, let's say black wants to increase the number of moves, then black would want to go to this square. Why? Because this is, black knows that white is trying to push him to this corner, but let's try to go to this corner. If we can somehow escape, then we can elongate the game. And even if he goes here, we actually have a perfect algorithm sort of thing to push from here to here, but we'll try to prevent that not to happen. So yeah, let's see what black does. So let's say that black goes here. He doesn't want to go back. He wants to play in these two squares only. E5, c5. Let's say he choose e5, c5. Sorry. Now what do? You make the move bishop to f3. Now, this is something of an intuition kind of thing, what you are actually trying to do. So, Bishop to f3 was pretty intuitive, right? Your entire intuition builds around these eight squares. Where do you not allow black to move to? So, if you move bishop to f3, then you have actually blocked the two of these squares. Your king has helped you block these squares. Now, the black king has only the option to put here on this square or on the rest. So these are the only four possible squares that you have left him to. So what would black try to do? Of course, black won't go to these three because he's being sidelined. What would black do? Black would go to d6. That is pretty much the ideal move. So yeah, black does go to d6. What next? Well, again, look at the much of my intuition is actually built around seeing these eight squares. So that is what I'm trying to do. I can see that okay, out of these eight squares, this and this are obviously blocked by my bishop, and this one is a square that is not yet blocked, even this one. So that's what I think, to either push my king to d4 or e4, because then I can block these three squares, especially from d4. So yeah, let's do it. Let's push our king to d4, and it is at this position that uh, I have blocked these four squares, and I kind of want black to go to this square. Why? Because I want to push him behind. But that is especially something that black does not want to do. He wants to stay in the center. So what's the move he does? He does e6. So basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you how an opponent might react to your moves. If he reacts in a different way, then you already know you are winning because you are pushing him back, and that's all you want to do. And okay, so again, let's see the eight squares. What eight squares do we have, and what do we have blocked yet? Now, at this point, you can make a lot of moves. One of them might be knight to d3, because he cannot really go back from here to here. He might try to come ahead, and you always need your knight in the game. So you might waste a single move. Maybe black tries to come here, but that's fine. You are bringing your knight to this position. And at this point, if black wants to stay in the center of the board, column wise, then he'll stay on the E line. So let's say he goes back to E7. That's pretty much, when I checked on the engine which move is better, then it had a pretty much similar point wise thing, that one was showing plus 1.48, one was showing plus 1.46, so that is fine. And yeah, that is what keep moving. We try to keep pushing back black behind, blocking these squares. No matter what he does, let's say he goes here. Uh, you could again think of these eight squares and try to push him back. And now let's play a little quickly. So again, I can see that black can escape from here. Is that a good idea? Yes, that is in fact a good idea because you are actually pushing him back into these 3 by 3 squares. So let's force him to somehow go here. He might come back here, but that's not really. He might see an opportunity to escape, right? So that's what black does, trying to escape. How do we reply? We reply by, giving this simple check. And why is this simple check important? Because now, again, we have logged these 3 lines. We have logged this line. We have logged nothing else. See, the entire problem in this game lies when black tries to remain in this non-edge wala portion. The moment black goes on the edges, then we have actually reduced the problem to a very less complexity of the game. And that is what we are trying to do. We are trying to push him back on the edge. And well, I can see that black will try to go to g5. Why? Because that is the only open position. He can't go to this edge because that is edge position for him. And if he goes back behind on this square, then he is very much pushed behind. So if he tries to come to g5, then this is the another kind of thing that you kind of ignore the 8 square rule and rather make this move. Why? Because now you have blocked this square. And the moment you block this square, you have blocked every other square for black than to go to edges. And the moment he goes to edges, the game completely reduces to a lower complexity. So yeah, let's say that black does decide to go to edge mode because that's the middle portion. Okay, so that was about pushing the king behind back to the edge. That was a different game. This is a different position. But the idea is simple. Once you have pushed the king to one edge of the board, then you can pretty much push him to the corner very easily. And that is more deterministic than pushing him to the edge. So how do you do that? See, the idea of being on the edge is that the previous 3 squares are backed off. There is no position for black to go to. And thus, we are down to just 5 squares, and controlling 5 squares are easier than controlling 8 squares. So you can, and the idea of the game is that, out of these five, control these 4 squares. Because if you have controlled 4 squares, then you actually force black to move into one direction, and that is what we want. We want predictability in the game. We want black to make the move that we want him to. So that is what we do. We push king to e6. So yes, what do we do? What does black do? Black has to go to f8. That is his only move. And it is at this position that we realize out of these 5 squares, 2 squares are open. And this is not a good situation for us because we want more predictability. We don't want black to, come behind and sit here. And yeah, that is what we aim to do. And to do that, we might have a lot of moves. One of them is knight to e7. Just come and sit here. Why? Because the moment he comes to e8, then we have knight to f5, and that is actually beneficial for us. Like we know that he can't escape from d8, he can't escape from here. He is already trapped here. So let's move our knight around a little. Yeah, so we moved our knight around a little, and we can again see that black has more positions to escape to, but we'll try to block this first. This might not be the most fast checkmate, but I guess this is more easier to understand, at least for me, and that is why I tried to show this to you all as well. So yeah, that is what we have done. We have blocked these 4 squares, have more predictability, push him back here. Now again, where do we want black to go? We want black to go to here, to this square. How many squares are open? Well, currently just 2 squares are blocked and every other square is open. In fact, this square is also blocked. So uh, at this position, we will need a little different kind of play. We know that know how it is impossible to stop black from going to this square, but it is more possible to stop black from coming to this square, like escaping from here, right? So yeah, that is what I'll do. I'll come to this square, and of course, black can come back here, but that is not a possible escape path. Why? Because I'll just come back here again. Let's say black comes to this square. I'll come to this square. What are black's possible options now? He can't go here, he can't go here, he can't go here, he can't go here. He has to come back here. So he'll probably not go there. If he does, then I'll manage it. But yeah, that's the move I have made. And then black will come to h7. Again, I have more plenty of options, but I decide to block him again. And once I've done so, again, black has just one square to go back to, more predictability, right? So he does go back to g8. And once he has gone back to g8, what do? I bring my king ahead, let him maybe go back. There is no point in going back because he have to come back. Uh, so yeah, the best move for black is going back. Okay, fine, go back. I'll just make a waiting move. I'll randomly move for h4. Why? Because I just want this diagonal block. In fact, by moving the bishop, I've also opened this square. So that is even more beneficial for me because that is the position where I have to push back to. And once black has done that, let's. This is his only chance, right? His only chance. And now now the game becomes really important because it's a checkmate in maybe 4 moves or 5 moves. So that is what you have to see. So see, we plan how do we plan how to win. So you don't want black to go to this square, and this square is currently managed by no one. Maybe an option is push bishop to e7 and block this square. Once this square is blocked, let him go to this square, play around with my knight so that eventually this square is blocked. And once this square is blocked, it might occur to a position of stalemate. So we have to avoid that as well. But we have to do something to block this square and give him the check at this square. So yeah, let's begin with the idea of pushing bishop to e7. Once we have pushed bishop to e7, predictability, that's the best part of the game. We have predicted this. And now you can see that a sequence of clockwise checks from the knight will help us. We'll give him this check, let him come here. That's what he'll do. We'll give him this check again, let him go behind, and checkmate. So, so the previous entire sequence led to a checkmate, and it is pretty much repetitive in one sense of the word because that's your entire game, right? Once you have pushed him to the edge, then you can block 4 of the 5 squares and then make black push into one of these squares. In fact, the position that I showed you, where the bishop was here and the knight was here, uh, like this position, so yeah, in this position also there is a checkmate, and that might have occurred in the middle of the entire sequence, but that was not really important for us because what we wanted to show was that the you can push black into one corner of the board and then checkmate him. But if black does decide to, be sneaky and go repetitively back and forth, then situations like these can also occur. So yeah, let's in fact try this one as well. So it's white to move. I bring my bishop here, and I've blocked him, and black has to go only till one square. Again, how many have we blocked? We have blocked these three. Which one do we want to block? We want to block this one. Can we actually block this one in a single move? Probably not. Can we block this one in a single move? Yes. Let's make him, come back. And now can we block this one? Still we cannot. Let's make a waiting move. We can't come here. Let's go here. And then is when we can actually uh, block this one. So yeah, I'm not showing you exactly the correct moves, the best moves, but I'm showing you how I might plan to, push black to one corner of the board because doing a checkmate from the corner is easier than doing a checkmate randomly on the edge. And that increases predictability. That's the entire point. Again, you have pushed him here. How many squares does he have to go to? In fact, we have blocked this square, so that might be a problem for us. But we have blocked this square, this square, this square. And then he has 2 squares open, and that is it is at the position that we decide to bring our king into play, simply because we have this square blocked with the knight. Even if he tries to maybe go to h6, then we'll bring king to f7, and he'll have to come back again. We discussed it in the previous iteration. So yeah, he'll plan to go to h8. That's pretty much obvious. And once he does, we do not make the mistake of somehow getting into a stalemate kind of situations, because stalemate is really possible in a knight and bishop endgame. But yeah, right now it is not. So let's come to knight to g6. I initially thought it might be a stalemate, but I forgot about this one. So yeah, he comes back here, and at this point we have to somehow save our knight. But saving our knight, so yeah, let's save our knight. Let him, let us make him go there, and play around with him, because now the king can't really come here. So the king will again go back, and now is when we decide to block the square with the bishop, because that is intuitive, I think. We block the square with the bishop, make him go there, and what do we do now? We have this square. We need to block this square, and we need to give him a check by the bishop from this square. So, yeah, I guess we could go for knight to g6 check, let him come to h7, go for knight to f8 check, let him go back. And now we have controlled the square, and it's a checkmate with the bishop.
Yes, this is how you divide your planet. Once you are in the center of the board, you try to push the opposition king to the edge of the board. Once you have pushed him to the edge of the board, this is the sequence that will follow. You will, out of the five squares that will be available to the opposition, you'll block four of them. You will increase your predictability. You will make your opponent force into one particular direction. If there are situations where you see that he might, actually come back, then most likely you will realize that even if he comes back for one move, he cannot really escape from the backside. So that is when you will use your knight with precision. You will let your king and bishop, hold the position, and bring your knight, toy around with him for one or two moves to actually block the square on which the black king might go to. This is something we saw in both the iterations of the same thing. Now, once you have done that, you try to push black to one side again, and eventually you will realize that, oh, he might escape from one corner of the board. But that is when you strike back with your king. So, firstly, you use the knight, then you use the king. So that is when you kind of blank out the king from one side and ask black to move back to the one corner. And once you have pushed him to the corner, it would be a clockwise sequence of knight checks and eventually the final blow with the bishop. So that is it. That was it about a bishop and a knight endgame. In fact, there might be a final blow by a knight as well. There are different variations of it, but for certainty, if you just wanted to know one, I think this one is good.
That is it for today, guys. If you like the content, do like the video. And if you want to watch anything in particular, drop us a comment and we'll make a video.